Hello everybody, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about the latest interview with Brett Winton from ARK Invest and from YouTuber Meet Kevin. I want to talk about all of that in this video. But before we do that, before we jump into today's video, you guys know exactly what I'll ask you. Destroy that like button, smash that like button. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. If you've not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Okay, so this interview happened about 3 days ago. Meet Kevin confronts ARK Invest. That's how the video is titled. There was no really confrontation. It was just basically a conversation. And Brett Winton, for those who don't know, he is the director of ARK Invest. He's like the brains of the whole ARK Invest combined portfolio. So obviously there's Cathy Wood, but I would consider Winton to be the lead at that point for all the portfolio when it comes to technologies. We've actually covered Winton through several interviews, actually one with Dave Lee. If you guys remember that, Dave Lee and Emmett Peppers, I believe, they were interviewing Winton, Brett Winton. And actually one of the questions was about genomics, and Winton really went in depth with that topic, right? The thing about this interview is interesting because Winton actually only mentioned CRISPR/genomics/therapy for like about 3 to 5 seconds, right? He made a quick remark on it, basically just reaffirming the fact that, I think 3 out of their top 10 are based on genomics, which should be valued differently because they're not valued as similarly like Roku or the Palantirs or Block or Tesla, right? There's CRISPR/genomics/biotech is sort of on its own sector, right? Obviously, we've made a bunch of videos because, a lot of these companies don't have commercial available drugs, and it's basically on a future promise based on the technology that we have today, also based on the potential future technology tomorrow, and obviously based on partnerships, upcoming partnerships, royalties, commercial fees, and all that jargon, right? But the point here is that Brent barely talked about genomics in this interview. But what I found really good about this interview is that actually Brent, first of all, this is actually his first interview in a while, right? And I'm sure you guys have been following this, but across all portfolios of ARK Invest, so ARK G Fund, ARK KK, ARK X, I think all these funds, right, have been hit so hard, like 30, 40, 50, 60% down from all-time highs. ARK Genomics just got crushed, right, since last year. And this is one of his first interviews. Actually, I would consider his first interview in this year and quite a while, besides if you exclude their ARK Invest Big Ideas conference, right? And what I found interesting is that Winton actually talked a lot about long-term horizon, right? And he actually reaffirms the fact that, ARK Invest is looking at the long-term things, right? At the long-term. And he actually talks a lot about how ARK Invest are looking at intangible assets, right? Intangible assets. What are intangible assets? Well, they're definitely not your Googles, your Meta, your Netflix, your Amazon, your Apple. Those are assets that are a little bit less known in the public market and, in fact, less understood by public markets. And I think that's a perfect definition for genomics, right? They're not understood by the markets. I mean, even, I was, in this, I remember in the Big Ideas 2022, I was in this chat and people were asking me, what is CRISPR about, and this is in 2022, right? This was like last month, right? And you'd think after 2020, 2021, the pandemic and everything, you would think that people would have a clue about at least CRISPR as a technology, but I think I would say the majority of people in that chat had zero idea about CRISPR. Genomics as a whole, the only reason why people know the term genomics is because of ARK Invest, ARK G Fund, right? Most people. I think most people know this field as biotech. And even then, I think biotech as a term was used in the 90s. It was used in the 2000s. And it was just never really was a mainstream term until genomics term came about. And I think ARK Invest definitely popularized it. I'm just a little bit disappointed that from this interview, he didn't really talk a lot about genomics. I know Meet Kevin is not really a genomic guy, but I think Winton as a director of ARK Invest, I think he can always squeeze that in, right? As opposed to just talking about it for like literally 3 seconds, I think. But generally a good interview. I think the point of this interview was really to come out there, talk to the public, talk to the audience. You know, Meet Kevin has a huge YouTube audience. A lot of investors, you know, just this video alone was published 3 days ago and it's well over 100,000 views. So clearly the audience is here. Clearly the investing market, he's here watching some of Meet Kevin videos. I mean, Meet Kevin has almost like 2 million subscribers, so he's well known. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I really loved how Winton talked about long term, right? And this, again, like I mentioned here in just earlier, this is what genomics is all about, right? CRISPR companies, biotech companies, whether that's Invitae, DNA, Pacific Biosciences, all these companies, even BNGO, right? BNGO, which we haven't covered that much recently, but all these companies, right? Long-term is the key. They're intangible assets. Those are assets that most of the markets do not understand. I would argue over 95% of the market don't even know they exist. Forget about understanding them. I actually think 95% of the markets don't even recognize that CRISPR companies, genomics companies exist. And I would argue that less than 1% actually understand what CRISPR is. And I would argue even a lesser percentage of that even understand that CRISPR as a space that's actually potentially cured many patients around the world as we speak today. It is what it is. Thank you so much for watching. Just wanted to make this quick video recapping this interview, talking about this interview. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. What do you guys think about Brett not mentioning genomics that much in this interview? Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, subscribe if you're not, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.